Oh no! The de-evolved are attempting to break into headquarters. What can we do? We must warn everyone that this episode will contain adult language, mature situations, awesome combining robots, parallel dimensions, insane backstories, intelligently mad scientists, and the power of Getter rays. Listener discretion is advised. Now launch! Episode 409, Getter Robo Devolution, the last 3 minutes of the apocalypse. Hello and welcome. No, that's not right. Last 3 minutes of the universe. I will edit that out later. Anyway, hello and welcome to another episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, some podcasts and manga reviews about connectedly enhanced narratives. I'm your host Zan, saying konnichiwa, aloha, bonjour, what's up, and joining me today is
Doug from AnimeCons TV and other places on the internet.
Yes, back again, once again, to talk about fun things. More importantly, we're here to talk about something amazing, awesome, great, and we're talking about manga. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Spiraken are some podcasts and manga reviews about connectedly enhanced narratives. Every episode we talk about one or two geeky topics. Since this is the manga review, obviously we talk about manga. We tell you how the art style is, the overarching plot, the characters, the production quality of the tankobons themselves, and most importantly, if it's worth investing your time in or not. You don't have to agree with anything we say, but we try to be educational, enlightening, exciting, and most importantly, entertaining. You can check out any of our earlier episodes at www.spiraken.com or on the social media platform of your choice, including iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and I'm forgetting a bunch of other ones. My brain is blanking right now because so much Getter rays are invading my brain. But you can check it out at all those places, and you can email me personally at zan@spiraken.com. You can tweet me at Spiraken, and I believe you're at Nagoki Watches?
Nagoki Watches is my primary one for reactions to various anime and manga and other media I go through. But you can also just yell at me on my regular Twitter, which is just Nagoki.
Yes, we can talk about these awesome things, and we're actually going to be talking about a lot of really awesome stuff this episode. But first, as usual, let's get through some of the news. But one last thing, join our Discord, tinyurl.com/Spira Discord. Join us. You can comment on mangas you want us to review. Let us know what you think about our reviews, and more importantly, you can recommend stuff and just join in on the conversation. So now that all that chilling's out of the way, let's get to the news, because we've got a lot of news. But first, we got some pretty sad news we're opening up with. So, voice actress Masako Sagaya passed away on February 25th while undergoing medical treatment for an unspecified disease. Now, most of us don't really know Seiyu from Japan, but you may have known her from her roles as Remy in Nobody's Boy Remy, Mary Ingalls in Laura, A Little Girl on the Prairie, Chappie in Space Boy Soren, Maki Aikawa from the original Aim for the Best, or Ace o Nere. And most importantly, where I know her from, Kitsune from Orisai Yatsura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to give one shout out here, because my very first Otakon, Aim for the Ace or Aim for the Best, whichever you want to call it, was screening in one of the video rooms, back when video rooms at cons were a big thing. And I just remember watching, this is my first real exposure to the heavy duty melodrama prime 70s shoujo, and just watching this and being enthralled and stuff like that. But I had that knowledge, and it always stuck with me. And then I remember going to watch Gunbuster years later, which is a loving, partially a parody, homage of it. But it's and I just want to, give her a lot of credit for her work, because she made that role. She is one of the reasons why that anime was so prolific and such a big part of 70s shoujo. So I just wanted to give a lot of respect for her there.
Yeah, and our condolences go out to her family. She was 83 when she passed, and, she will be missed. So now we have a little bit more sad news. First off, this year's in-person Anime Expo convention has been canceled due to, guess what?
COVID-19
keeps
going.
And this is the 30th anniversary for Anime Expo, so that's a kick in the...
I really wonder with some of these cons, are they going to go by the year for their anniversary, or if they're going to go by the number of conventions they've had for some of these celebrations as we hit them? Because we're seeing, a lot of these cons are now hitting their second year in a row that they have to cancel.
Yeah, but this is their official 30th anniversary, so there's nothing they can do for it. Unfortunately, we have a whole podcast where we talk about the state of conventions right now for the first 5 months, but this one was out of nowhere. Now, it was slated to take place at the LA Convention Center on July 2nd through 5th, which is a really weird weekend, but whatever. And as usual, all badge owners, they'll be rolled over to next year. And supposedly they're going to be hosting an Anime Expo Light virtual event during July 4th weekend, which, I don't know. Will it be good? Will it be bad? I think with it not being an actual event, everyone's going to be forgetting about Anime Expo unless there's something really big going on.
So, yeah, I think if they can say they're going to be able to show something really big, it's going to be a tough bag. So, we'll see how it goes. I want to hope for the best with all of these virtual cons.
Other big news, Comic Con International's 2021 in-person event was canceled also. Yeah. But now they're saying that they're going to be doing a smaller in-person event planned for November. And it's going to be an alternative 3-day in-person convention. More is going to be revealed at a later date, but the virtual event's only going to be 3 days because of challenges of last year and the financial responsibility. Because last year they did an entire week and a half on YouTube, which was awesome, but they're saying we're going to do 3 days like most conventions. So it makes me think that they can't hack it as a convention.
It's what is the draw of your show? What's the content? And we get into a lot of this. Yeah. In the episode, but this
is San Diego Comic-Con that's doing this.
So
they poo-poo the smaller events. So, but yeah, but we have some positive convention news, actual good news. Brooke Zerland officially announced that Otakon has raised more than $34,000 in donations to support the convention.
That's pretty good. I mean, I'm still hoping that they're going to have their in-person event this year. We'll see what happens. It's still really tough to call, but it's good to see that they are getting it. I think a lot of people are fond of Otakon, so fingers crossed that this is helping them.
And they're still accepting donations through PayPal and through the store, so it's good for them. We're going to hope that they're going to be good, and we're excited because we want them to stick around. It's Otakon. Mm-hmm. And next year, if they're awesome, I would want them to have Jam Project come back. I want them to have some major guests like Migo Takahashi.
Let's let them get their financials in straight, because some of those acts are not cheap.
They have not worked in a year. I think they'll be like, we'll pay for your hotel room to come, because Jam Project I would want to see again for them to come back. I think we'd all pay for that. But anyway, so last bit of good news: Crunchyroll is launching a new beta site. Mm-hmm. They've updated stuff, and if you're a premium user, you can opt in, which has a new interface. You can get personalized recommendations, new watch lists, and now officially you could search by the genre, by if it's subbed or dubbed, and if it's new or not. Ooh.
I mean, this is interesting with the merger of Crunchyroll and seeing how this is going on. I mean, I'm sure this was probably in the pipeline for a while, but also, makes you wonder how much of this is going to stay later on down the road, if this is testing out for the new model.
Hopefully. And hopefully it's not as buggy as Funimation. Because let's be honest, Funimation is one of the buggiest websites and the buggiest apps ever. If this beta comes into the app and fixes it, I'd be so happy, because I like their old app design. The new app design I can't stand. It's like, this looks like Hulu, and it doesn't look good. It looks jumbled, and it takes forever to turn on. But that's my news. So let's now get to the main part of our news section, licensing. Yay! So first off, that's not new. Nothing from J Novel Club, nothing from Star Fruits Club, which is good. The main things that we have are 7 Seas and, of course, Yen Press. That's all we've got really news from. Now, first off, 7 Seas has licensed some really cool mangas and light novels. The first one let's get to the big one. Let's just get to that one. Let's just jump to the man himself, Shotaro Ishinomori.
Oh, this news made me so happy.
Yes. So 7 Seas Entertainment has picked up Kamen Rider, the original Kamen Rider. It's going to be released under the Kamen Rider Manga Collections Complete Set, which is 800 pages long. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Kamen Rider, for those of you who are unaware, after being kidnapped and experimented upon by the evil terrorist organization known as Shaka, Takeshi Hongo manages to escape their clutches and uses newfound strength and bicycle kick to fight against their schemes. Now, there's been tons of TV shows, movies, spin-offs, mangas, actual American comics. There has been a horrible American live-action adaptation, which was really, really bad, but we watched it anyway. But this is a collection of the first adventures in manga print that was written by Shotaro Ishinomori and created, and it's going to be a beautiful hardcover edition. Now, I'm curious how many chapters are going to be in color, and it's going to be awesome.
This sounds like a prestige release, like what you want, like the people that want the classic manga, a nice edition, put on their shelf, be proud of it, be able to go through all of it, and it's 800 pages is a tome. Well, it's not mince words here. But you only have to buy one volume, and that's perfect. Like, I want to support this, and I think it's, going to be a good, kind of, how to put this, foundation piece. Like, there's certain manga that you always say this has led to so much more, so even if some of the material might be dated or, not as entertaining as it was, it's great to go back and look to see kind of where things came from.
Yes, and if you buy this, you'll understand, what is his name? Hideki Anno's obsession with Kamen Rider, and more importantly, you'll understand the concept of a KR unit.
I mean, I'm gonna say trying to understand Hideki Anno is a bit of a stretch, but you'll understand him a little bit better at the very least.
I mean, he got married in a Kamen Rider outfit.
So,
I mean, that's kind.
And I mean, Ishinomori he's a great mangaka, one of the founders. So I think just more classic work like him. Like,
I mean, Cyborg 009, Kakaider.
He's in that vein of, I would put like Leiji Matsumoto, Tezuka, and stuff like that. And yes. I know don't angry tweet me. I know I'm forgetting a ton of people, but those are names where they created a lot. And
this is one of those ones that you're going to put up onto your. I'm going to say that this is a coffee table manga. This you have out and you could show to quote unquote grown-ups and they'll get it. This is like your Rose of Versailles. This is your Spice and Wolf hardcover, which I have in my bedroom because it's too big and I'm reading through the whole freaking book. This is all your Tezuka stuff. Well, most of it. Aiko, I don't recommend putting that out because reasons, but you've heard the podcast. Anyway, now transitioning from Aiko, which is about kind of rapey stuff, let's get into another one. Seven Seas Entertainment has also licensed storyteller Ko Hirotori and artist Jetta Yamada's J.K. Haru is a sex worker in another world, the manga, or J.K. Haru wa Isekai de Shofu ni Nata. Now, this is based on the light novel series by Hirotori and artist Shimamono. You can find this on J Novel Club. I read this on J Novel Club, and I've got to say, this is a really screwed up light novel, and I'm kind of shocked that they're doing this. But if you've never heard of this series, the whole thing is the otaku boys get to have adventures when they're hit by the inevitable truck and find themselves in yet another fantasy world. The girls, on the other hand, well, Haru finds out the hard way when her classmate Chiba gets the two of them truck murdered into a fantasy world that treats women even worse than our world does. But a girl's got to do what she can do to make the cash for survival. And Haru, well, she intends to thrive. This is one part Sakano, which explains the whole harem situation. One part Red Shoe Diaries, kind of. And one part Isekai. This is a very twisted... Like, when I read the light novels, my favorite chapter is the one where she joins a team of kids who are playing Kick the Can, which is apparently like baseball in this alternate world. And then there's a whole other thing where a guy tries like, you can't join, you're too good. And then we find out actually that she has a power and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked this is coming out.
Yeah, this is, and of course, it's more isekai, but I guess it's what sells, so people keep buying it.
Yep. So next, they've also licensed a new series, Eri Ijima's Tai Ari Deska, Ojisama wo Kakoto Game Nante Shinai. Now, the premise is that Kuromi Girl Academy is a refined, elegant school that expects the very best in deportment from its young ladies. Aya got into this peerless rich girls' institution on a scholarship and hopes to grow as lovely as her fellow student and idol, Shirayuki. But Shirayuki hides a terrible secret. She's a trash-talking, combo-chaining, newbie-stomping, hardcore, ruthless gamer. Now, can a mutual indulgence and no-holds-barred video game combat grow into a deeper rapport between these two girls? So, this is high-score girl mixed with bottom-tier Tamazaki mixed with most school manga.
Yeah.
Not sure if this is going to be good or not.
This one, if it's played for laughs, I could see this being really fun. Like, if it's silly, if it's trying to play it straight, and I don't know if it would work.
After last week's Chain Smoker, I'm kind of turned off on the whole chain smoking douchebag main character. So, yeah. Let's see. They've also licensed author Hirokuma and illustrator Nanako's The PCs in this village sim game must be real. The light novel and the manga adaptation, also known as Mirazukuri Game no PC ga Shojin no Ningen Toshida Omenai. And this one is, of course, Yoshio is 30 years old with no job. And guess what his occupation is?
Is it a shut-in?
Yes, he's a shut-in. His mundane life is interrupted when he receives a copy of The Village of Fate, an experimental game with graphics like nothing he's ever seen before. In this game, he takes on the role of a guardian deity who watches over the people of a new village, but he finds that the game characters are so intelligent, reactive, and human that he starts wondering if they could be real people somehow. Through his connection to their strangely vivid lives, Yoshio begins to discover the brightness has been missing from his own existence. So this is not an isekai.
Yeah,
This is something else.
Virtual world, so it's...
But he's not. He's playing the game and just watching them coming out of it.
So...
This sounds like Bofumo, where it's like they're playing the video game. It's kind of like an isekai, but she gets out and she does things.
Yeah.
So, could be good. Could be bad. I like the premise.
It has potential, and it's a little bit of... It's less idolizing of that shut-in otaku and more of it's like, there's life outside your apartment, to borrow a line from Afanukyu.
Yes, yes. So let's see how much. Let's see the next one is. It is licensed author Jackie, an illustrator of Fames, the most notorious talker runs the world's greatest clan light novel, and the Yamorichin manga adaptation of this light novel. I'm not even going to try to read the name; it's too long. But Noel has grown up idolizing his grandfather, a legendary adventurer of the class known as Seekers. But when it's time for Noel to set out on his own, much to his dismay, he turns out to be a talker, a support class with meager abilities. But Noel's got ambition in spades and the smarts to match, so he's determined to do whatever it takes to make the world know his name. So this is an alternative RPG setting with different classes, and it's unique. This could be good.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that... This is that... You see this in a lot of, like... shonen manga of, I'm not very good, but I've got gumption, so I'm going to make it. And that's, that's not a bad style to go with if you can do it well with kind of a different premise. You want the main character that you can root for and want them to get better.
It's not super OP.
Yeah.
And not a shut-in who gets hit by the truck of death. Even though there is a manga about the guy who actually has to drive the truck, and he's so depressed. He's like, I hate my life, but I have to... He gets the address, and he has to drive and run them over. And they show...
Okay, that actually sounds like a great subversion. I need to read this.
The whole thing is that actually, like, the truck isn't a truck. It's actually like a dimensional device. And every time it gets wrecked, he has to fix it. It comes out of his own pocket. But the last thing it's licensed is Cotton Vallette's Creepy Cat, or Creepy Cat Nekotu Watashi no Kimyo na Sekatsu, which that does not translate to that.
Yeah, I mean... It's localization.
Yep. But Flora has just moved into an old house with a gothic flair and a hint of mystery. She soon realizes that she's not alone in this place. A weird cat already lives here and it's not leaving. It behaves like no cat she's ever seen, phasing through solid objects and attempting to eat a police officer. As Flora cozies up to her new creepy and adorable roommate, she learns there are more spooky surprises in store. This one sounds fun. It sounds like it gets you in that pet itch and also ghost stories.
Yeah.
I might really like this. This one could be a lot of fun. It doesn't say who wrote it, though. I mean, I doubt that it's Cotton Valent. I think it's the title.
Yeah.
I don't know. If Cotton Valent is the mangaka, let us know, because I'm excited for this one. And then finally, I think that's everything we've got for the licensing. Yeah, that's it. It's all 7 Cs, but here's the thing. JK Horror will be released digitally in print by Ghost Ship Imprint in August 2021. NPC in This Village Sim light novel manga will be released in Airship Imprint in August 2021. Most Notorious Talker light novels will be released digitally and in print in Airship Imprint in September. Tai Eri Deshita will be released digitally and in print by just standard 7 Seas Entertainment in September. Creepy Cat is going to be released in full graphic novel in color by 7 Seas Entertainment and digitally in October. And then the Most Notorious Talker manga is going to be released digitally and in print in February 2022. So you're going to have to read the light novel first before reading the manga.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fascinating to me to see just how much 7 Seas has taken off as the name. Like and as longtime fans, we've seen this companies come and go, change, and it seems like 7 Seas is really, if you'll pardon the pun, riding the wave right now.
They are, and they're doing a great job with it. And I like their different brands. I like how Ghost Ship brand is a little cringy, but some stuff's good. Airship brand, I like that they've set it up and they've got some great titles on there. So I'm happy with them. And they're doing better than a lot of the other companies. Like Viz is just Viz. Viz is going to be, they're good or they're bad. Kodansha, them merging the two companies to one and now being like, okay, now Vertical is just their imprint brand for their signature series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with the imprint brands because then you at least
get it.
You can kind of know what we expect. And we talked about this on the Sneeze episode with the Viz signature line.
Yeah, what's the other big company that's left? Yen Press is still, it's Yen Press. Yeah. And they're doing good. I just want them to, so most of our companies are doing good. Even Tokyo Pop, yeah, he's still kicking around, but he's got some decent things coming out, I have to admit. It's just, maybe they said, you just stand here and count the money. That's all you do. You're not going to talk to Tori Amos and make a manga based on her anymore.
Diversity of companies is good. No one should have the full control. So I'm glad there's several companies releasing a big variety.
Yes. And then last and certainly not least, our general news. One thing, on February 25th, the Comic Earth Star website published a new manga one-shot for Pyo and Root's Teikyu manga titled Senpai to Mugen Resha, or Upperclassmen in the Infinity Train. And this is a one-shot that teases the characters' lives a decade after the series ended, because it's a 10-year anniversary. Kind of cool. I kind of would like other mangas to do stuff like this. I've seen a couple that have done things like this. I mean, technically you could say that Yashahime did that.
Yeah.
That got really weird. I mean, but we knew that was the case.
I like it as a one-shot. I don't want to know if it's like, I don't need a sequel series. Just, hey, let's check in on the characters. Kind of, it's not almost epilogue, but it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah, like the last chapter of Bleach was like an epilogue, and I like that. And Burn the Witch is its own. Yeah. Anyway, so let's actually get to the manga review that we've been waiting for. So if you remember the last episode, I spun that one that only the Wheel of Manga, and it did turn out to be a manga that's been sitting on the list for over 10 months. It was written by Eiichi Shimizu and Tomohiro Shimoguchi, and this was published by 7 Seas Entertainment in 2018 with 5 volumes that were released, and it is a action-adventure psychological thriller. Yeah. Mecha series, and this is from the creative team behind the Ultraman comic or manga, so that's pretty cool. And who would we actually just attribute the series this is based off of from?
Ken Ishikawa and a little bit of Go Nagai, too.
We have to, because it's got a little mix of both, and you could taste it in this. And this manga that we're talking about is the 9th iteration of this franchise, if my math is right, not including the Super Robo games. And it is Getter Robo Devolution Uchusaigi no 3 Bunka. Or Getter Robo Devolution, the last 3 minutes of the universe, which is the title of the last chapter of the manga. So how do we... So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Getter Robo, how do we describe the basic premise of Getter Robo?
So basically you have 3 pilots that are all crazy, and they all pilot 3 different jets, basically, that, depending on how they combine, can form one of 3 different versions of Getter Robo: Getter 1, Getter 2, Getter 3. And it was a very classic in the original version, just a super robot, monster of the week type manga and anime. It was very cut and dry and stuff like that.
And they've always changed the villains depending on the series you're watching. It could be the Spaced Empire. It could be my personal favorite, the Dinosaur Army. But this, and they're always working with, it's the same, generally the same 3 characters, but there's always a variation of it.
Yeah.
One series has that they're old and they're training the new class. But the main characters are, we have to talk about the best of them. Musashi Tomoe, who is the, he's more the stocky guy. Generally, I remember him because he wears his uniform like a cape.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy, but they also make him because they at least have a reason for him to be built like his Getter machine, his Getter machine Bear, and I think Bear's a good description for what he is. He's big and husky and stuff like that, and he does a lot of judo, so that's why he's the big.
Yeah, and in the original version, he was supposed to be he wasn't supposed to be one of the Getter robots, so he had to earn his place, and it was kind of cool that he did earn his place because he's the heart of the team, and inexplicably every single version, slight spoilers, he either gets horribly maimed or he dies.
Yeah.
But that leads the rest of the crew to rise up to the occasion because they need Musashi's death one way or the other.
Yeah.
Then you have arguably the most psychotic of the group. You have Hayato Jin, who is he's either depicted as evil businessman, crazy psychotic Yakuza guy, or just jerk.
Terrorist in the 2004 anime version.
Yeah,
I always like how it seems like whenever they introduce Hayato in any version of Getter Robo, it's always him trying to say, no, you don't want me, I'm too crazy for you, look what I just did, I'm crazy, and they're like, that's Tuesday to us, get in the robot.
Like he's the guy that will like light someone on fire, be like, see, I'm too crazy, like no.
Yeah, again.
You're fine. Except in Shin Getter, he's the one that's like the most depressed out of all of them.
Yeah.
and he cleans up at that because he becomes a Dr. Saotome character. But then we have the main character, Ryoma Nagare, who is the typical, I'm the protagonist of a giant robot series. I just learned about this, but I'm amazing at it. And he's got the heart of a true protagonist, we'll say.
Yep. He wants to go in full bore and like, yeah, I'm going to fight it.
And like we said, they've been usually recruited by Dr. Saotome. And in this version, this iteration, it opens up horribly because we found that Ryoma, his parents are dead.
Yeah, his parents, he was the one who found his parents murdered as a kid, and he's an orphan, and he's in just kind of typical high school days.
His life sucks. The only person that gets him is this one girl who's very familiar to us if you're a Getter fan, but when you're reading it, she seems like a very different character. And she's also an orphan. Her name
is Michiru, yeah.
And she's like, when we first see her, she's going to get raped by a douchey high school guy. And he ends up like, his choice is he can either leave her alone, let this happen to her, and not get shit happen to him, or beat this guy up and then see the repercussions. And what he does, he chooses to beat the hell out of this guy. It doesn't matter. And I love that he goes from, you can't touch me, my dad's the best. And when he just starts wailing him, he's like, it's like, oh, fine, don't hurt me. But even when he says don't hurt him, he still calls his dad and he gets expelled.
Yeah, and this is the Ryoma character. Is like, he's an asshole, but he still has a moral compass. Like, he's actually going to, like, do the right thing whenever just in his own way.
He negs.
Yeah.
And so he saves the day. The girl's upset that he's getting kicked out because he doesn't tell anybody, but he gets expelled. And she, to thank him, made him a bento. And the minute you see her hand the bento, you're like, oh, this could be cool. It might be the thing. Then you turn the page and...
giant monster shows up, wrecks the school, and kills everyone except for Ryoma.
Yep. This is... it's horrifying. It is very Evangelion-esque, very... Dead Man Wonderland, just kind of that scene of just instant horror, things go to hell, and Dr. Satome shows up and says, "Are you going to let this happen? Or is this what's going to happen?" Well, this is the way to save you, and Getter 2 shows up because...
he actually has a line that gets repeated and modified throughout this series that I really like. It's like, are you going to be someone that has things taken from him, or are you going to be someone that takes? And I love that concept of like, this is, it's a, I don't want to spoil the final spin on it because it comes back in a really cool way. But I like that.
That ending. The ending to this
that line, that thought of just like, it's kind of the you can let yourself be a victim, or you can stand up.
Yes, and he joins the team, and he is the newbie member. Unlike usual, where he's the first member, he's now the newbie member. The first person is Hayato, but we see that Hayato was a hacker and a scam artist who was kind of like, we're going to kill you or you're going to join us.
Yep.
And Dr. Satome seems really cruel in this series. Like, he seems like a villain for half of it. Then you're like, oh, that's going on. It's a red herring.
So.
And the whole thing is the Satome, they fight the monster who looks actually really cool, very different than...
these monsters called the Unevolved.
Yep.
And they're really cool designs. Like, the thing they reminded me a lot of, there's a bit of Angels from Evangelion, a little bit of the Heterodyne from Daiguard, if you've ever watched, where they almost feel like they're almost just like a natural phenomenon, not like sent from another. It's like, just these are occurring phenomena that you have to deal with.
When the ball one shows up, that's totally a ripoff of the Fifth Angel. I was like,
there's that.
I was like, that's not a. That's
and that's because it's revealed that in the institute, the Satome Institute, there's the MacGuffin, or at least what we think is the MacGuffin.
It's a fragment of the Emperor.
Which, if you're a Getter Robo fan, you know that the word Emperor has some very significant meaning, but it feels like it's Lilith or Adam.
And they want to merge with it, and and that will complete something. And then there's other situations going on which we don't want to really reveal because of the spoiler talk in this, because there's a lot to take with this.
But then you find out like the fragment of the Emperor is revealed to be a device that shows glimpses of other dimensions going on, and so all of a sudden it's like there's always going to be a Ryoma, there's always going to be a Professor Satome, there's all these other dimensions going on, and all of a sudden I switch from like, wait a minute, this is going from Evangelion to another great mecha manga, Bokurano.
Yep. And then it goes even further because they're looking at these dimensions, and it seems that everyone where this certain event happens, they're getting blinked out of existence, and they're like, we're kind of on the train towards that.
Yep. So this manga,
it's depressing.
It is a little bit depressing, but it
ends hopefully.
It does end like, and I'm glad I got all of this in one go. I think if I had bought it incrementally, I would have been a little more frustrated, really kind of figuring out. I think if you're a Getter Robo fan, or if you're a Mecha fan, buy it all at once and go through it all. But like, I found myself kind of like wondering, who is this for? Like, is this kind of Ava thing? But it's got so much good in this. Like the art, one of the things I love about this series is this art. This manga has some beautiful stuff. And every time there is like a 2-page spread of something. Like,
they use a lot of 2-page spreads in this series.
So, like, every time you see each form of the Getter Robo for the first time, it's a beautiful 2-page spread. And, like, I was saying to Zan before we started recording, there's so many of these that I would just love to have as, like, small, 8.5 by 11 or small size prints like framed on my wall. I love them.
Like my favorite one of those is the Change Getter one. Is when the first time that Ryoma he initiates a change and
there's so many great ones. Like if you like panoramic shots for stuff, this is a good one to get. So the thing is, the story. It's a lot of waiting to trying to a bit of a slog to get to the meat of it to really figure out what's going on and what the objective is and stuff like that.
And there's a lot of twists and turns in it because every time you think you have a handle on it, then suddenly they turn it on its head.
Yeah.
Because between the first, second, and third volume, there's three. Like first one's like, okay, typical series. Then we're gonna twist it. Okay, then we're gonna twist it.
Yeah.
And then by 5, you're like, I don't know how I got here. I'm confused.
But I enjoyed the ride getting here.
Yeah, and it's like, but then you think about this is Getter Robo, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Because Getter Robo is kind of like...
and that's the thing that I was really conflicted about, is the first 3 volumes, I was like, the question I kept asking is, who's this for? Is this for long-time Getter Robo fans? Because this just feels...
nostalgic?
Yeah, nostalgic, but there's not a lot of meat here. Is this trying to get new fans in it because there's not enough explanation on it? And this is why I think, like I have to say, you have to really go through the full series. And I think by the end, if you're either a longtime Getter Robo fan or a newcomer, you will be satisfied. But like early on, like I said, because it felt very much like Evangelion or Bokurano, I was like, this doesn't feel like anything new or interesting to me.
I hate to say it, but this is one of those series that is like Galgaigar. It's not going to pass the 3 episode tests.
Yeah.
This is it gets good by episode 10.
Yeah.
Or you just binge it and then you get it.
Yeah.
You have to binge it. You can't, because if you only buy 1-2 volumes, you're going to be lost and you're just not going to be invested by. Especially after 2. 2 is a bad ending. Where that ends, it's like you're like, do I drop this now or do I keep going?
So, dear listener, stick it through. I will say you'll be much more satisfied with this.
Yes, the ending is so like, what the fuck?
If you like Getter Robo, or if you want like really high octane action and stuff like that, like there's some great action pieces. Again, those 2-page spreads, but just other angles too. You'll be satisfied by the end, but I can't even call it a slog. It's just there. You reach a point in the middle around volume 3 where you're just kind of like, where is this going? What's going to happen? And I have gone back and forth as I was reading and getting to the end. Is that intentional or not? And that was the one place I got a little mixed on.
Part of me thinks that, and this is in the back of my head, part of me thinks that maybe Shimizu and Shimoguchi were hanging out with Matsumoto on his boat doing blow, and then they figured out and then they're like, this came in a fever dream, because it does take some definite leaps of logic.
Yeah.
Just to get minor spoilery, parallel worlds, like we hint that parallel worlds are involved, but the way it introduces it first, you're like, okay, this is what it is. It's like, no, that's not even
the resolution that comes from why the parallel worlds exist caught me off guard, and it was a neat
This
surprise.
feels like, I hate to say it to compare it, but this is like the Dark Tower movie where it's after the whole Dark Tower sequence. If you follow, because Dark Tower, it's a circular event where it keeps going, and then the movie's supposed to be after you get out of the circle. This is that situation where this is after you've been through the cycle X amount of times, then it will make sense. Which sucks, because if you're not a huge Getter Robo fan, you're going to be like a little lost.
Yeah, so...
Especially with all the cameos and everything. And even
there's some great, and that's the thing, as a Getter Robo fan, there were some great unexpected cameos and stuff like that I was just like kind of like if I was watching this on TV versus reading it as a manga, I would totally be the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of pointing at the TV like, oh, it's that.
Yeah.
So there's one especially in the final volume and kind of towards the climax that I was like, oh, I can't believe they brought that in. It made me so happy. End of volume 3, I don't want to spoil what it is, but there were some fantastic cameos at that point.
Yep.
Too.
No, there were some great cameos. And I gotta say, for characters, definitely the standout is Dr. Shigeshima the Older.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is, well, one, that's a whole...
Oh,
that's a whole, like, you're like, wait, what?
Oh, when you find out his relationship to his son is really cool.
Because he's a horrible... Because when you meet him, he's like, I'm really cool. He's like, you're nothing like four glasses. He's a jerk. It's like...
Yeah, again, there's a lot of cases where these characters... It's sort of like, you're crazy, but you're on our side, so we'll put up with your crazy.
And Musashi's whole...
Yeah.
That whole...
There's one point where they talk about... They hint at Musashi's past. And they don't say there's going to be, a little bit of it. As soon as they said that little bit, I knew I got to where something else was revealed about his past. And I was like, called it. But again, so... And
Musashi, and that's slight spoilers, but we'll spoil it. Musashi does not die in... Well, would that be... No, he doesn't die.
I won't say anything else. So, there's so many things. The more I think about this manga, the more I like about it.
It actually makes sense why it's called De-Evolution, because this is a deconstruction of the Getter Robo mythos.
Yes. Again, this creative team, they've worked on that Ultraman manga, which unfortunately didn't get the best anime adaptations. The Polygon pictures, it was neat, but I would prefer just a straight anime, so I'll just keep reading the manga instead. But that line got some really nice looking model kits based off those designs of Ultraman and the other things like that. And now, as I was reading this and looking at some of these takes on the Getter, I'm like, I want this as a model kit, and I know there's a couple action figures and stuff, but it's like I want.
No, like I would love to de-evolve the set when they had at the near the final climax when all the different variations, which look so similar, including one who looks almost like an evil king of some sort. I was like, he looks familiar.
So there's some really fun stuff here.
Yeah, I like the design of Getter 1, Getter 2. They don't really give a really concise, because he's constantly bending and shifting.
What was interesting about the Getter 2 design in this is, for a still medium of manga, it conveyed its speed really well.
It does.
And I'll say the same thing about the Getter 3. The Getter 3 is the bruiser, the heavyweight type. Sometimes it's the underwater type, but whatever. And then again, even though this is a still medium, you really got the feeling of those arms that could really stretch out, that this is a very heavy, it's the tank unit.
Yes, which is the bear unit itself, because the bear, the jaguar, and the eagle. Yeah. Even though the eagle is not the speed one, which that's kind of
it's the three predators, yeah. So,
I will say the homage to Shin Getter versus Neo Getter, that sequence, I was like, no.
Yeah.
I feel like Akira from Martian successor Nadesco.
Oh, yes.
with Geki Gengar, where it's like, you don't want to read the end of it because you're at a point like, I don't know if I want to read it, because maybe things will work out at the end, but you have to read to the end to get this. And on the one hand, beautiful artwork, a great story. On the other hand, it is throwing you beyond the deep end. This is throwing you into a volcano, saying you're going to survive this or you're going to burn. So it's definitely not for a novice manga reader. It's definitely you don't really know who it's for. And for that reason, it does lose some points there. But it's still a beautiful read. And if this was in an omnibus, a one full set omnibus, it'd be
fantastic
perfect.
As an omnibus.
But
I think the 5 volumes is a little tough.
Is a stretch.
Even if it had been a 2-volume set. Well, I'll say with the caveat that as an appendix, you got all that cover art, because there's a nice theme with the covers going on. Yeah,
the art is great. All of that was the cover art of each pilot with the Getter, and then the
there's so many things we don't want to spoil. But
this is one of those ones.
If you have even an inkling of enjoyment out of Getter Robo, I think that it would be.
Or mech series. This is one of those mech series that is one of those quintessentials that you should read to get into it. It really is, because it is not one of the foundation series, but it is up there.
Yep, I would say if you like, say, when they started in the 90s of doing a lot more of the deconstruction of the super robot style, if you like anime from that era and beyond, I think this would be a good one.
Yeah, this would be good. I think that if you are a fan of the more unique series like Gurren Lagann, Evangelion, like we said, Bokurano, there was another one which I'm completely forgetting, not Aquarion, but it's
oh, I know. Yeah.
I'll remember it later, but if you're a fan of those animes or that type of story, you'll really enjoy this.
Another one I will toss out there is, if you like for this, is again the Ultraman series, but also if you like, we've talked before about Naoki Urasawa's Pluto, where it's kind of this is you know these characters and stuff, but let's take a look at them from another angle, and I think that's good, another good way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. I've been wavering on this because on the one hand, this is better than A Gift from Your Crazy Aunt Muriel, but is it a borrow from a friend though? Because
see, I am going to give this personally, like I can't give this the really 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 fucking cool, but I don't want to say borrow from a friend and don't return unless given offered Pocky. I'm going to give this a caveat. I will say borrow from a friend and don't return unless offered your favorite type of Pocky. So if you like the cookies and cream Pocky, if you like the matcha Pocky, if you like the banana, they have to give you your favorite kind of Pocky. I think that's where it lands.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. So yeah, I'll bump this up to a borrow from a friend. It's really good. It just, there are some issues with it, and you can't deny the issues. And it is a slow start, and it is very what the hell's going on. I mean, you get it because it does have a lot of tropes from other giant robot series, but you get a lot of vibes of other series. Like we said, it opens up very similar to Dead Man Wonderland, where it's like, this is happening, and then he's thrown into this situation. And Dr. Saotome, for a while, you're like, is he really the bad guy? Is he not the bad guy? Yeah. Oh, wait, are we being twisted? Oh, wait, who is this mysterious figure who just showed up? Is he? No. And then is Hayato the bad guy because he's being a prick? And he's like, no, it's being Hayato. And why is Musashi so awesome? And oh God, what happened with Musashi? And I will admit, the entire time I read this manga, I was listening to Storm on repeat.
Not a bad thing.
It was Storm or Dragon, because both of those are equally good themes for Getter Robo. For those who don't know, Storm is the Jam Project theme song from Neo Getter versus Shin Getter, which is just, that's totally like workout music when you're going up the hill. And Dragon is more of I want old school.
Yeah, it's much more closer to that. But again, it's Jam Project. You can't go wrong.
Feels very Gasaraki-esque, that opening though.
It starts off with that kind of the monk's chant and stuff.
Yeah. But equally good, worth it. If you've read this, let us know what you think. Email us or tweet us at Spiraken or at Nagoki Watches. Let us know what you think about Getter Robo Devolution, if you like this, if you thought this was well done, or should they have gotten a different Getter Robo property?
This is that was one of the lingering thoughts I'll just throw out there is, with seeing what Seven Seas has been getting. You know, we talked about in the news segment of Kamen Rider. I'm like, maybe we can get more Getter Robo manga now. Come on, guys. Please.
We need Getter. We need Cyborg 009, a new release. A better re-release than the Tokyo Pop. Who's the other one that we need? Mazinger was picked up?
Maybe? I'm not sure.
Mazinger, maybe?
But yeah, like...
No. If we're doing Ken, it's gonna be Kakaider and Skullman. No, Skullman came out.
Skullman, Ishinomura as well.
Skullman came out.
So yeah, again, I'd just be happy with any of Ishikawa's Getter Robo stuff, because there's some. It gets really crazy, and some of the stuff doesn't get satisfying ending, but there's so much there. And
yeah, for those of you who are into panels, definitely this is a series that. Totally, like, if for your intro panel, you could do a whole set, like a whole hour on just Getter.
Yeah. Oh man. I've been doing panels at conventions for a long time, and I'd still worry about if I tried to explain Getter Robo to people. It would just be the Always Sunny in Philadelphia conspiracy theory.
They have that. They have that in this manga too. They do have the conspiracy wall because they're trying to explain the parallel universes, and all the parallel universes are all the Getter universes. So you're like, I got it. But yeah, Getter is Getter. That's all I could say. Getter is just Getter. Iconic design, iconic character, and well, Getter Robo, and that ending. I want to talk about that ending bad, but we'll talk about that off.
Absolutely, but definitely give this one. I'd say if you're gonna give it a try, go give it a full try.
Yeah, give it a full mecha try, and definitely just be psyched. Put on some cool mech music and just read through it, and be prepared for some crazy shit. What was that? I'm not gonna say anything more because I'm gonna be quiet. But yeah, like I said, if you agree or disagree, email us. Tweet us. Remember to like and subscribe. And let's actually, before we get any further, let's get to some of the manga releases which came out yesterday and March 2nd. We got 32 volumes, and I'm actually excited for some of these. We'll go backwards because people have been liking me going backwards. So from the bottom, With a Cat and a Dog, Every Day is Fun, Volume 3. This is a weird series because everyone's just a one-page, not even a 4-coma. It's like, here's this gag. Who Say Warriors Can't Be Babes, Volume 3, Twin Star Exorcist, Volume 21, Sword Art Online Project Alization, Volume 2, the manga, Sword Art Alternative Gun Gale Online, Volume 8, the light novel, yay, Sword Art. This one I'm excited for, the next one, Spy X Family, Volume 4, such a good series, Solo Leveling, Volume 1, the comic, not the manga, the comic, Snow White with the Red Hair, Volume 12. Will Shiroyuki finally get together with the prince? We're going to find out. Skip Beat? Did it?
Okay, then.
I haven't seen Skip Beat in a long time, but apparently Volume 45 is finally coming out. Holy shit. I reviewed that back in in double digits. Saki the Succumbus Hungers Tonight, Volume 5. ReZero Starting Life in Another World, Volume 15, the light novel. Queen's Quality, Volume 11. Orient, Volume 2. Orisama Teacher, Volume 28. My Hero Academia Team Up Missions, Volume 1, which is their kind of this is their Spider-Man and his friends manga, where it's Spider-Man team-ups.
Yep.
Or the, what is it? What was the villains one? It was the
Superior Foes.
Yeah, the Superior Foes. It's like that. So it's kind of that. And then you have My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Volume 9. Love Me, Love Me Not, Volume 7. Knights of the Ice, Volume 6. Haikyuu, Volume 43. Fire Ice, Volume 22. Eden's Zero, Volume 11. Dragon Ball Super, Volume 12, which I'm surprised, Super, but whatever. Dr. Stone, the reboot. Byakuya, which is dealing with his stepfather. What the hell is it? Is it his adopted father? You know what? I know it, but it really is confusing. Do You Like the Naughty Nurse? Manga. It's a one-shot. Death March to a Parallel World Rhapsody, Volume 13, the light novel. Daytime Shooting Star, Volume 11. Chasing After Aoi Kashiba, Volume 1, which that sounds familiar. I didn't think I talked about that, but that sounds familiar. Bleach Can't Fear Your Own World, Volume 3, which is a spin-off of Bleach. Berserk of Glutton, the manga, Volume 1, which finally came out. That was supposed to come out last year. Banished from the Hero's Party, I Decided to Live a Quiet Life in the Countryside, Volume 2, the light novel. A Sister's All You Need, Volume 9, which, it's a light novel. And A Certain Magical Index SS, Volume 2, the light novel. So which of these pique your interest?
I've just barely started the first volume of Spy Family, but I'm enjoying what I've seen so far, so I think that's the thing I'm most interested in.
Yeah, same with me, Spy Family. Berserk of Gluttony I like. It's such a weird premise, because it's, his power, it's a character with a power, but his power is totally taboo and just really screwed up, and he just says, I'm going to become evil because of that. So, kind of cool. It's not I'm a good guy who I'm reincarnated in a bad body. It's, I'm going to become evil because I want to become evil. And it's a slow burn.
And the other one I'll toss out that has me, I'll call it hopeful, is the My Hero Academia team-up missions. Like, if they're short, contained stories, not trying to tell an overarching one, that could be a lot of fun, because My Hero Academia has such a rich world that you want to see more of what's going on in the greater world and beyond that. And I think, because there's so many, like, what's it like to be a normal person in this thing, or just a different person than just the main cast?
I mean, the Vigilantes is an entirely new cast. You have Smash, which is its own, but that's more the chibi style of stupid things happening. So this one could be really good, depending on how they set it up. But I like My Hero Academia. Dr. Stone, yeah, because Dr. Stone's fun. It's weird and fun. The other one, which I'm chasing after Aoi Kashiba, and the one that everyone wants me to review is Nurse. Seven Seas Ghost Ship. Yeah, hey, I'm not going to find that anywhere because no one will sell Ghost Ship imprint. So I got to go to the internet to buy that stuff. But yeah, the one that I'm dreading, though, is Fire Force and Sword Art Online. Really? They should have... I mean, I get it.
It's the big property, so they...
No, everybody agrees. It's like, this is a horrible property. Why do they keep pushing it? It's like cram it down their throat.
I guess some people are buying it. I don't know.
It's not Fate Order. They'll like it. They definitely will like it. But yeah, so I think that's it for the episode. Then you could talk about other things as well, such as life. Because I have to admit, I found finally a good bookstore that has good manga. Well, all bookstores have good manga, but one where the section is up to date. That's
hard to find.
It's not this is new, and it's that came out last year.
And it's a local bookstore, right? So you should always support
relatively local, yeah.
You support your friendly local bookstore. I mean, especially if they're keeping up to date with that stuff, because those are hard to find, and if they're catering to a wide variety and stuff like that.
The thing is that, from what I've heard from inside, and this is a little book knowledge. Ever since 3 companies gave up their head of orders, they've left it to the stores themselves to deal with orders. So it's like, store A in blank city, you get to choose what you order. And it's like, if you get a lady who's like, I like reading mystery novels, it's going to be filled with mystery novels. Or if you get the person who's like, I like reading the schlock horror.
And that's, again, one of the indicators of a good bookstore is if they're doing their research and looking at, like, both, like, what are their readers interested in, not what they're interested in. But also, like, okay, maybe we'll take a chance on this and see how this does. And play around with that, too. One of my favorite bookstores was always really good about having a section of, if you like this, try this, and stuff like that. Which
is always good. That bookstore is, I heard, still doing good, kind of?
As far as I know, unfortunately, I haven't been able to get to them in a little while, partially because of COVID, but...
Well, we can pimp them out. We could pimp them out. It's Comicopia.
Yeah, Comicopia. It's
the one that he's talking about, and
they're a store in Boston, and...
They're great.
Hands down the best comic store I've ever shopped at.
In the area, I agree. I love their booth when I went to Anime Boston just to check out their stuff. I will admit, the owner can be a little Connie, but
I have no issue.
Let me refuse that. A little opportunistic, but it's understandable. He does have the stuff.
I will say this, and as you know,
I'm a huge fan. I'm not being
but as a regular, I got to hear a lot of like. Looking at what people were buying and knowing to stack up on what's the big thing right now and stuff like that. So
yeah, a good comic shop knows what they're doing, and that is a great thing. And bookstores that do this, that focus on manga and do a good job with that, I've got to say they're great. And especially now, we need to have bookstores because they're good.
Yeah, and if you know of a good bookstore, shout them out on social media. Tell us. We'd love to hear about some of these.
Yeah. If you want us to, what we'll do is, for the next 2 months, if you shout out a bookstore, we will pimp them out. If you're a bookstore owner, let the bookstore owner know them. We'll have them on, and I'll interview them. It's been a while since I've done an interview. I'll have like a quick interview of what they think about the comics of the days. I'll have them on the comic book podcast. We'll talk about comics for like a couple hours, especially with everything going on with Marvel, with that whole, all the Avengers now have the Phoenix ability and they're fighting each other in a tournament royale, and Cap's like, I don't want to fight you, and they're like, I don't care, we're gonna kill you to get the Phoenix power. Or the best line ever is Phoenix Wolverine fighting Phoenix Black Panther, and he's like, so what do you do if I do this? And he does the typical 2 blades around the head, the second one, and he's like, well, I don't have to worry if my teeth are protected. And he's like, his teeth are vibrating. He's like, are you kidding me? It's like, nope. After I saw you, you gotta protect everything.
Comics.
Oh, comics indeed. And also, we finally have the end of Brand New Day. Thank God. I didn't talk about this too much in the superhero thing, but yeah. Officially, we now know that Mephisto's like, yeah, I'll tell you what happened to Doctor Strange, and we know that she remembers 100%. That she remembers. Mysterio remembers the original timeline.
Okay, then.
Because he was dead.
Oh, comics.
No, it wasn't all comics. That was Ramita brought him back because he was like he was brought back because of Wanda stuff.
Okay, I'll forgive it because I like Ramita.
It was Ramita stuff that brought him back, and because you remember he had the hole in his head, they fixed him, and he's back.
Of course.
but he's back. But he remembers Harry. There are 2 Harrys on Earth now. One is Evil Harry, who's the one from back then, and then there's Douchey Harry, who's in France.
Yeah.
Who's like the good Harry. So yeah. And then we'll see how everything ends, because hopefully Spider-Man goes well. And what was the other one? And then Batman, with Batman now living in a garage.
Okay.
After the whole Joker war, he lost all his money. All his money is... No, but they said he's now he's rich, but he's not he's not Wayne Enterprises rich. He's like, I have $2 million, that's it.
Okay.
And Batgirl's back to Oracle, but that's, yeah. And then Joker's alive, and what's her name? Harley's trying to be a good guy, and what the hell's her name? Whatever. Getting off topic because this is a manga review. Because we could talk about this for hours. But let's actually get to the point you've all been waiting for. Well, first off, remember to like, subscribe. Go to the iTunes store and definitely rank us. Let us know. We want to be up in rank. I'm surprised that out of all the manga podcasts and anime podcasts I know, the only one of our contemporaries that are still around are the Ninja Consultants. They're the only ones in the top 50 on iTunes.
Really? Wow.
Not even AWO. And they're still consistent. It's Ninja Consultants are like 37, and everyone else, nope.
Wow.
So Al, good job.
Yeah.
Good job, Al. But we got to get up there. So promote us, like us. Definitely check out everything that Doug is doing, because I think that New Year, hopefully you'll get another AnimeCons thing.
AnimeCons TV podcast. We're looking at a couple things. We had some stuff earlier on this year. Because there haven't been too many cons, it's hard to push out content. We're looking at a couple of things. I have a couple people that I'm reaching out to for possible future interviews. I don't want to promote anything yet, just because I don't want to say something and then have it fall through. But we are still looking at content and hoping that down the road we'll actually have some cons to go to in 21.
And as usual, you are welcome to come back. We have a couple things. We have the rest of the Bondathon, which we postponed because it got pushed back again. And I'm just like...
Dear listeners, I do want to point out that I did say to Zan, our friendship would be over if when Getter Robo Devolution came up, he did not have me on. I mean, we should have had 3 people for this podcast, really.
We should have, but Tom, but I couldn't get Tom. Tom, in doing a Zoom call with Tom. Well, actually, Tom.
So we'll have what we need to do then is just hope that Seven Seas gets another Getter Robo manga out, and we can make sure we can have 3 people, so it's appropriate for Getter Robo.
Or for the anime review, we review Shin versus Neo.
Oh.
And compare it to Apocalypse. No, is Apocalypse a movie?
No, Apocalypse is an OVA series as well.
We compare the two.
Oh,
3 of us. But then that makes us want to get 5 for Come Battler V, which is now on not Netflix, is now on Crunchyroll.
So yeah.
But then we need another dude who has to just wear the cape.
If we try and do 15 people for Dialogger 15, we're in trouble.
No. If we really want to go crazy, we could do I forgot what the real name for Voltron.
That's Dialogger 15.
Oh yeah, it is Dialogger 15. It is Dialogger 15. You're right. Never mind. So let's actually get to the point you've all been waiting for. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that one, that only The Wheel of Manga! Yes, friends, a Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on it. And what I've done is I've assigned a manga title to each of the 10 slots. I've replaced them. They're all listed on the Discord where you can check out, tinyurl.com/Spire Discord. And what happens is whenever you spin it, whatever number it lands on, that's what we review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review. And we've got some great titles on here. If you want to check out the list, got some good ones on there, I think.
Ooh, there's definitely a couple that I've been looking forward to.
Like, I think that the only one which I'm kind of confused by is Play It Cool Guys. I have no idea what that's about. I think I know what it's about.
I don't want to say what number it is because I don't want to spoil it. But I would say number 3 and number 9 are the two I would most be curious about.
3 is...
I'm sorry. Number 5 and number 9. I can't read, apparently.
5 is an anime series coming out, so...
Yeah.
Which I think that, what's his name, is going to be voicing it. And also, it's rumored that the person who's writing a memoir also may be in it.
Ooh.
I'm curious who she'd play as, though. But let's spin. So spin and see what we review.
Alrighty, I will gladly spin.
Number 10, The Girl Without a Face.
Ooh.
This is, I think it's horror or it's romance. I'm not sure. Could be good, could be bad. Not sure. But, well, at least, so it's number 10 again. This is the third time that it's come, or not, 8 was last time, there was 10 before that. And every other time it's 10, it seems to be. So, and well, it's all good. At least it was not number 7, Knights of the Ice, which I've heard mixed about. I've heard it's like a really third-rate, what is it called? A third-rate Yuri on Ice.
Oh, jeez.
But we'll have to wait and see how this goes, because Girl Without a Face, I'm actually excited to see where it is, what it's about. We'll find out next time. So as usual, I'm Zan.
I'm Doug.
We're Gonzo. Catch you guys next time, and keep getting giant robots and combining them into awesome shapes to fight evil Dinosaur army or de-evolved monstrosities that look similar to but not are legally distinguished from others. Yeah. There's Getter. Exactly. So, see you guys next time. Bye.
So